Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's weekly market update for week of March 27th, 2017. Now, this week what we're noticing as we're heading towards the end of March is a much higher proportion of properties selling at or above asking price. So we're analyzing why that's happening and why it's happening now. That and more coming up right next. So here we are, we're almost done the first quarter of the year for 2017 in real estate, and oftentimes in real estate, the first quarter does determine how the rest of the year tends to play out. So let's analyze that this week, and we're looking at a percentage of the market selling at or above asking price. Now this graph on your screen right here, this shows you the activity of that matter for the last year, and very noticeably, we're at the highest point for offers and selling prices at and above asking price at 77% of inventory selling at above asking. Now, if we compare it to the last height that we had, that was about last early summer at 69% back in June of 2016. So quite a staggering difference since then. Now, I should note that we are waiting for the last couple of sales to trickle in for March, and that will affect the overall average numbers, but this is something to play with. We do notice that we have quite a higher proportion of sales at or above asking price. Why is that happening? Well, it's not necessarily because we're in an extremely hot market. Yes, we're in a heated market again. It is spring, but we have far less properties listing and therefore far less properties selling on market. So the numbers are skewed a bit just by the circumstances of our current market, where we have not a lot of turnover just because there aren't enough listings in the market. So it makes sense that a high proportion of those will feed into the demand that buyers bring in and sell at or above asking in multiple offers. Now, if we want to understand what that means for your specific situation, and we always recommend that you look at the product segment that relates to what you're doing in the marketplace, we can break down the inventory by number of bedrooms. So we've done this a few weeks ago, and we thought it was quite useful to look at it again. This chart here shows you basically 4 clusters of bar graphs, and that is looking at activity for studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms. Now, the dark red line, that shows you number of sales so far in March, and that is for the west side of Vancouver for condos. The green line, the green bar rather, that shows you how many properties have listed and yet to sell. And the light red bar on the left of each cluster shows you of the sales, how many sold at or above asking. Now, very noticeably for studios, let's go through them one by one. We've got 3 condos selling and 3 of them, so all of those at or above asking price of the 9 listings on market. So that represents 100% of properties selling at or above asking, and it represents a 33% absorption rate. In a balanced market, our absorption rate, that's the demand, tends to be around 14 to 19%. So we're quite a bit higher than our balanced market. Now for 1 bedrooms, we've got 60 units that have sold. 45 of those sold at or above asking price, and overall 119 listings on market yet to sell. So that's about a 50% absorption rate. Again, very strong seller's market. For 2 bedrooms, 36 units have sold, 29 of those at or above asking of a total of 130 units. That represents, again, 80% of units selling at or above asking. And finally, for 3 bedrooms, now there aren't that many 3 bedrooms in the city to begin with. So these numbers will be far lower, as are the studios on the other end of the spectrum. We've got 22 condos on the market, 5 sales, and 4 of those at or above asking. Now, one other metric we really want to look at very quickly is how many days on market is each inventory segment spending, because that tells us what's happening with that particular inventory. And we can see right across the board, again, a very similar graph here, this time showing you days on market, that activity is rushed. Things are happening very quickly. Again, all the sales are happening in less than a week right across the board, regardless of which market segment we're in. And of all the activity of listings that are on market that have yet to sell, the longest activity is 2 weeks. So it's showing us that we have far less listings in the market. Therefore, a lot of them are getting sold very quickly and are in high demand. Even properties that perhaps would have been left on the sidelines a few months ago just because they weren't as desirable are getting snapped up. So we are in the spring market in Vancouver. There is a lot happening in the condo market. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, whether you're selling or buying. If you want to reach me, you can do so by calling or texting number right below. And of course, if you're watching this on Facebook and you like this video, do like this Facebook page because we do post here every single week. So until this time next week, have a wonderful week ahead. Bye-bye.